Hey everyone, want to do a quick garden update. If you hear some music in the background, it's the church down the street doing their socially distant service. Look at these blackberries. Planted these last fall, I believe. They're sending out lots of runners. I buried the tips of the branches around, and I planted a few more in the spring. Try to fill in these areas. And a tomatillo. It's kind of the start of the growing season right now. Got stuff coming up. Planted out my warm season stuff. There's that peach I planted. Red Haven peach. I planted maybe a couple weeks ago. More blackberries. Been dropping these violet to try to get some more nutrients in the ground. Some self-seeded lettuce. I should probably harvest soon. A lot of these radishes. You can pickle these pods too. They're pretty decent. But I just want to save a lot of seeds. Let's see what else got. Tomatoes along this fence line. Along with some peas. This Swiss chard is out of control. Planted this last spring. It's probably the only thing that survived this long. Just about to flower. And then this blackberry is sending out a crazy amount of growth. Not flowering as much as the other one, but I think it's sending out more growth. This one I didn't bury the tips, but as you can see, there's some blackberries forming. Got a lot of these collard greens coming up. I plant them pretty densely and kind of let nature thin them out. Got some onions right here. Planted in my strawberries. I usually don't pull any of these weeds. I just come in every once in a while and cut them back. Seems to be working. It definitely is work coming and managing it, but I'm off right now. Got a pepper I planted next to some sage. And raspberry. More collards. This is a garlic that I left in the ground last year, and I still haven't harvested it yet because the dog took a big poo on it. But you win some, you lose some. I like how it's perennializing anyways. There's I forget what type of flower this is actually. Kale coming out. Next to the comfrey. Planted this all over it. Got a lot of this creeping Charlie coming up in some places that I probably have to deal with. Mostly in this area back here that I didn't mulch as heavily. Oh yeah, something else I wanted to show you is how I planted these spinach. So, probably the biggest problem I face with the back to Eden system is the planting. either having too much mulch so the seeds don't come up, or too little mulch so they dry out. So what I tried here is I put down some green mulch, and by the time that the mulch disintegrates and turns and dries out and turns yellow and gets smaller, the seeds will come up and they'll have a taproot, so they look pretty healthy. I think I'm going to try that throughout the summer more. Have the water and the grass help, and the weeds, because it's such an abundant resource. Got some more sage. So this is all just wood chips. I had a compost pile in the middle of it, but it's mostly just wood chips and the compost that they've turned into. Right here's kale's looking pretty healthy. Wasn't healthy a few days ago, but I've had some good rains that have definitely fed them. Got some more collards. Kind of see which ones are getting stronger. I might come in here and clip back some of the leaves. Kind of elderberry cutting that I put in here last fall. So I'm pretty much putting brassicas all over this area. I planted some potatoes. That potato looks pretty sick because it was just a volunteer. Probably was a potato like the size of a quarter or something. I dropped some collard seeds here. It's like microgreen density. Kind of letting it sort itself out and seeing how it works out. Let's head down. Show you my cherry tree. More kale. I love red Russian kale, so I planted a lot. And my neighbors love collard greens. And I like collard greens a lot too. So I'm growing a lot of those too. So this cherry's put off an impressive amount of growth. I'm impressed, at least. Looks very good. I love Pennsbury Farm Nursery. I believe they're based in Arkansas. Got more tomatillos, tomato. This is volunteer arugula. Most of them are going to seed now. Seems like they're having some sort of disease issue or something, but it's all free, so yeah, some of these pods aren't forming. Not really entirely sure why. Here's a squash I planted. It's either butternut or a pumpkin. Not too sure. Some kale from last fall. More collards. These are way too dense. So but I'll kind of back at some point. Let the stronger ones take over. More tomatoes in here. Some peas. It's beautiful flowering kale. It's my first year seeing kale flowers, so let's see. Just saw a bird flying here. I don't know if I'll be able to catch them. They seem pretty shy. Oh. This ryegrass really came out. I think it's a mix of ryegrass and whatever grass I had here before that popped through the mulch. I also come back here and chop and drop it. So you can see there's like straw decaying throughout here. Some more brassicas coming up. Some sunflowers that I planted. trying to get the sunflowers all throughout this area wherever I'm not growing main crops to feed the soil. Some more tomatillos, some collards or broccoli or something. Got a lot of these volunteer peppers coming up. Coming back pretty strong. Kind of expected it. I didn't put too much mulch here, but they're poking up in the areas that the mulch is thinner. There's probably thousands and thousands of seeds in here. I let a lot for the birds and just to fall on the ground. Here's that cherry cutting. It's doing pretty well. These were the earliest potatoes I planted, so they're all popped up and healthy. These grew really fast actually. I just mulched them over again a few days ago and they're already popped out like this. They must love the rain. Here's my pomegranate tree. It's looking pretty good, growing along. Got a lot more onions over here. Probably need to prune these back again. A lot of them are flopping over. This oregano is growing really fast, as expected. These are it's experimenting with brassica transplants that I don't have as much with. Seems like the best method is putting them into the bigger cups first, getting them a little more established than small cells. Because a lot of them just got eaten up really fast and weren't very healthy. There's a mess of cabbage seeds. Might have to tie these up or something. I tried to touch it last time and ended up breaking it. So I don't know if these are going to be viable. Sorry about all the noise. Busy city. Got some, I believe this is corn popping up. This one's in particular is not looking too hot. Probably bounce back though. It's probably my biggest broccoli that I planted this spring. Hopefully next year I can get them all looking like this. Looks like broccoli that I planted in the fall is slowing down. I'll let it just get a flower. I probably won't harvest off these anymore. The other ones are completely in flower. Got a lot of strawberries. Strawberries have great big leaves now. Planted those in the spring. Let's go down this road now. Got some carrots. They don't seem to mind the violet. Hey, how's it going? I don't seem to mind the long violet or the mushrooms. Some cabbage. Some yarrow. And this is the plum cutting. It's progressing nicely. I'm guessing it has some roots. Or it's just very ambitious. Alright, I think that's all I'll do for today. Kind of walked in a circle. Yeah. Yeah, after that heavy rain. There's also a lot of mushrooms coming up in the garden. It's good. Spreading that good fungus up into the next mulch layer. There's just a few ladybugs in the garden too. Hopefully they'll keep the pests down, but it's always some pest pressure, for now at least. Some heat coming off of it when I first got it, because it's mostly like sticks, and it had some leaves in there, so it's has a slightly higher nitrogen content, breaks down a little quicker. But what I didn't expect was for it just to be completely covered in worm poop. Completely broken down, finished worm castings. And let's see if I can dig down here. It's not just worms, of course, it's all sorts of life. I don't know if these are good insects or bad insects or whatever, but sure is breaking down these wood chips. I still wouldn't be able to grow in any of this. You could probably sift it down, but I'm just gonna use it as a nice mulch. The rain's gonna wash down the castings. It's great stuff. Just from less than 6 months, or just about 6 months.